And again, you can pick any of our statistics from here, and you can look at them. Anything that shows percentage-wise will work in this report. Another really important report for tournament play in particular is facing pre-flop action. So again, we're in statistics section, and it's the facing pre-flop action report. What you're seeing here is one row per kind of situation that you could be in on your very first action before the flop. You get dealt your cards, stuff happens before you, and now it's your first decision. Well, the question is, what happened until then? If it's an unopened pot, that means everybody folded to you. So it's a similar kind of situation. So here we can see we have 10,434 hands, where this player was first to be able to open the pot. You can see the winning percentage. You can see their VPIP and PFR. So again, they're playing almost a little more than 70% of hands in that spot, raising 60%, a little more. But you can see one limper. Now, a limper means someone just called the big blind. It's a technical term. It means there's one person who just called the big blind, and it's to them. We have 1,945 hands for that, and you can see how their VPIP changes. Suddenly, they're not putting in nearly as much money. And part of the reason for this is this sample is based on heads-up play. So when you check in the big blind, it's not considered voluntarily putting money in because you haven't put any more money in. And you can only VPIP before the flop. After the flop is a totally different animal. So VPIP is pre-flop open. And that's a good thing to keep in mind. So that's why you see this kind of big drop. But you can already see how, looking at this report, I can tell you something about this player's play. They check a lot when it's linked to them. And they're in the big blind, and it's heads-up play. So you can use these, and of course this works like the other reports. All of your hands are down here, and so you can replay these hands. You can do other filtering in addition to this, and it will help you kind of figure out what your play is in different first situation spots. And tournament play, this is going to be huge because when you're facing an all-in before you get a chance to act, your range is going to be very different. You're going to want to make different decisions than you will if everyone folds to you, because you're able to steal the blinds a lot more liberally. And you're going to see later in the course how aggressive you can actually be as your chip stack gets small. So being able to look at these different kinds of spots will help you fine-tune your game and look at what you've actually been doing in those situations. So I've mentioned lots of reports. Do you need more than that? I'm glad you do. Because you can create custom reports in the My Report section. In here, you can choose the type of report, how to group the report, and how to show exactly what you want to see. So any of our stats can be added to these reports. There's three kinds. A player report starts out by looking at hands that you've played. You're looking at groups of hands. So a stat like VPIP looks at groups of hands because it's how often you voluntarily put money in the pot over a sample of hands. That's to contrast with a hand report, which is going to show you, again, one row per hand. So if you wanted to make a report that was going to show you all hands where you faced a river continuation bet, you could do that as a hand report and save it and load that up really quickly next time. An all players report is like a player report, except it's not just for you, it's for everybody in your database. So you're going to get one row per player, and you can put whatever stats you want on it there. For player report, we also have lots of different groupings, some of which you will not see anywhere else by default in Poker Tracker. And I wanted to specifically highlight pre-flop stack size for you guys, because as tournament players, this kind of custom report has a lot of value for you. Because pre-flop stack size is going to be the determining factor in a lot of situations in your tournament play. So let's see what that report looks like. You get one row per different stack size. You get different ranges. Now these are in big blinds. They're not in M, but you get a pretty nice range, and you can kind of approximate M by multiplying that by thirds. Because you're going to be dividing it by the small blind too. So you can see here this player has a stack less than 2 big blinds 59 times, and this is how often they raised when it was folded to them, and you can see it's 47%. So you can see, in this spot how someone's raising range is going to change based on their stack size, and you can see we have different samples for all the different stack sizes. Based on the tournaments you guys are actually playing, you're going to be seeing numbers, much more in this area and a lot less in this area, because you need to be really, really deep to be able to have 100 big blinds. And turbo tournaments, it just really doesn't happen that much. But in addition to being able to just look at this, you can then come in here to this blue filters list. Well, it will be blue for you at least. But great. And then you can make individual filters, and you can save that with this report. So you could come in here and you could take this report and filter for times you're facing an all-in, and you would then see times you were facing an all-in by stack size and see what your stats are. And you could save that, and it would show up in this drop-down. And you could look at it later, and you wouldn't need to redo everything. And it would be really helpful for analyzing those. So I've talked a lot about filtering. How do you do that? This button here, More Filters, is the gateway to all of the filtering everywhere. And other than the doing specific stuff for custom reports, this is the place where you're going to go if you want to see specific subsets of your data. So when you click it, you're going to get this window. And here's how you, so there are 5 sections over here: game details, can values, for texture, and actions and opportunities. And each one of these has different kinds of filters. And we tried to break it down as intuitively as possible. So game details is all stuff for how to filter at the game level. You know, what day did I play it on? What currency was it in? You know, what was it? Turbo? Was it a super turbo? What was the buy-in? What was its description? What was the table size? You know, were there 6 players at a table, 10 players at a table? And you can also filter for the specific blind level. So if you wanted to look at a hand at the 100, 200 blind level, that would be there. Now, so you navigate this by, you choose your second.